June 2023, paper 3H, higher tier. Calculators are allowed and answer all the questions. Question 1A, simplify m squared cube. So that means there's 3 of them, m squared times m squared times m squared. So 2 plus 2 plus 2 give you 6. Or you just do 2 times 3. To remove the bracket, you multiply them. 2 times 3 is 6. So the answer is m to the power 6. Part B, simplify. You add their powers because the base is the same. It's x and x. The base is the same, add the powers. 5 plus 8 is 13. X to the power 13. Part B, expand. Expand means remove brackets. Don't forget that. Expand means remove brackets. So to remove the brackets, we'll multiply 4p times p squared and then 4p times 3p. So 4p times p squared, now there will be 3p cubed. Because that's like p1, 1 plus 2 is 3. P cubed. So it's 4p cubed plus 4 times 3 is 12. 12p squared. 1 mark for each answer to make sure you get the both of them right. Question number 2, you can have a go at it and then you come back and check your answers. Question 2, Johnny wants to know how much coffee he will need for 800 people at a meeting. Each person who drinks coffee will drink 2 cups of coffee. 10.6 grams of coffee is needed for each cup of coffee. Johnny assumes 68% of the people will drink coffee. Using this assumption, work out. So what I tend to do when I have questions like this, which are very wordy, I would highlight the words. In an exam, just use your pens, the numbers, sorry. Use your pencil just to circle the numbers. It quickly helps you to check what you're doing. So you look at one person drinks 2 cups. So 800 people will drink how many cups? So you times 800 on the left and times 800 on the right. So there'll be 1,600 cups. That's a lot of cups of coffee. Now, each cup takes 10.6 grams. 10.6 grams is very small amount of coffee. So you go 1,600 cups. So you times by 1,600 cups to know how much coffee you need. You need that 16,960 grams, or what is called 16.96 kilograms if you divide by 1,000. Now you want only 68% of it. So you have 68% of that number. It gives you 11,532.8 grams, which they want you to the nearest gram. You will remove, put the line there, change the 8 to a 1, add it to the 2, it becomes 3. So to the nearest gram is 11,533 grams. Make sure you do that to get that mark. Johnny's assumption is wrong. 72% of the people will drink coffee. How does this affect your answer to part A? Now we are using 72% to work out. So we use 72% of that same quantity. It gives us 12,211.2. Let's subtract the difference between the two answers. Subtract them is 678.4 grams. So that means you will need more coffee. The amount of grams needed has to increase by 678. How does this affect? The amount of grams needed has increased, so you will need more. Question number 3. Press pause and have a go at it, and then after that, you come back and check your answers. What you do here is this line is parallel, this line is parallel. That's why they have the arrows on them. So this is 125. It's a straight line. So 180 minus 125, you get this 55. And then 110 there, 180 minus 110, you get this one to be 70. And then you get another way to get this. You can look at this as allied co-interior angles. 180 minus 110, it gives you 70. These two angles add up to 180. Think of that letter C there. And then also alternate angles, that will be 55. This is 125, and that's 125. So you complete the triangle, and for each reason, you say isosceles triangle, angles in a straight line add up to 180. So an isosceles triangle has the base angles the same. So why is that triangle isosceles? This angle there is 55, and this other angle there is 55. It's an isosceles triangle that they have turned to its side. That's the two angles are 55 and 55. That's what makes it isosceles. The base angles are the same, and the two sides will be equal length. These two sides will be equal in length. Now, these are some of the things which you need to remember for this type of problem. It's an angle properties. It's a cheat sheet. It helps you to think of corresponding angles. Think of that letter F, line down the letter F, corresponding angles, turn it around. Alternate angles, think of the letter Z. These two angles are the same. Think of the letter Z. These two angles are the same then. And that co-interior, that 110 and 70. Think of this letter C and OC forward. These two add up to 180. Angles in a triangle add up to 180. Vertically opposite angles are the same. Angle on a point 360, and then angle on a straight line 180. So I use this one, alternate angles, angles in a triangle, and that's how I use that to solve that question. Question number 4. It takes 14 hours for 5 identical pumps to fill a water tank. How many hours will it take 4 of these pumps to fill another water tank of the same size? So 14 hours to fill and 5 pumps. So we want to get to, we do multiply on the left and divide on the right. How many hours will it take 4 of these pumps to fill the water tank? So let's always find it for one pump. So you divide 5 divided by 5, you get 1 pump. But what you do is, because now it's 1 pump, it will need longer time to do the work. So you times by 5 on the other side. So think of it that way. When it's just 1 pump, it will take longer. So you times by 5 on this side is 70 hours for 1 pump. Now we want it for 4 pumps. 1 times 4 is 4. And 70 divided by 4 will be 17.5. So 4 pumps will take 17.5 hours. Another way to do it is to multiply 5 times 14. So the hours pump, hours is 14, and then number of pumps that multiply 5 times 14 is 70. And since we want 4 pumps, what do we multiply by 4 to get 70? So it's 70 divided by 4, 17.5. Question number 5. Question 5a, we want to find the highest common factor of A and B. So I can list all those numbers. There's 2 squared, so there's 2 of them. 3 to the power 4, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's a 7. And this one, there's 3 squared, put 1, 2, and there's how many 7? 2 sevens, 7. Highest common factor is what is found in both lists. So there's 3 found in both of them. There's 3 found in both of them, and there's 7 found in both of them. So I multiply them out, it gives me 63. 3 times 3 times 7, 63. Another way to do it without writing all of those out, what is found in both of them? 3 squared. So that's the 3 squared is the what is found in both of them. And then what the smallest thing that's found in both of them is 7. So 3 squared times 7 is 63 as well. Find the lowest common multiple of A and B. After we've got the highest common factor, this formula in pink is good to just memorize it, learn it. it is you multiply the highest common factor times the rest of the numbers. So the highest common factor you got in part A was 63. So you write 63 times the numbers that are left. Which numbers are left? This 2 is left, this 2 is left, this 3 is left, this 3 is left, this 7 is left. So you multiply 63 times all of that, that gives you the answer. Or if you had done them this way, you would have used 7 and 3 squared. So what is left to multiply is with 2 squared, 3 to the 4th, 7 squared. You get the same answer. Question number 6. To do question number 6, I'll show you some kind of formula which is good for you to learn. Volume is the same as the rate times the time. But the way to memorize it, to learn this formula, is just to remember the second one. Number 2, it helps you, you can rearrange it to get the other ones. Rate is something that has to do with time. Is the volume divided by time. Volume divided by time, remember that. So when you want to calculate flow rates in millimeters, flow rates, it has to be the volume divided by time. Remember that, flow rates, volume divided by time. One day has 86,400 seconds. How do I get that? 1 day is 24 hours. 1 hour is 60 minutes. 1 minute is 60 seconds. So 1 day you multiply 24 times 60 times 60. That gives you 86,400 seconds. We're going to need that for this question. So for question 6, the rate is volume over time. So the volume is there, divided by time is equals to the rate. Because volume is in meters cubed, rate is seconds. So what do? We want to find the time. So what we can do is you rearrange it to find the time. Time is volume divided by rate. And you get the time in seconds there. Now we have to change this time to days. We have seconds, we'll change it to days. 1 day is 24 times 60 times 60, 86,400 seconds. So if we divide that by 86,400 seconds, it gives us 65.36. So to the nearest day is 65 days. Question number 7. The graph is, here's the graph of y equals to x squared minus 2x minus 2. Write down the coordinates of the turning point. The turning point is there 1 minus 3, 1 for x and minus 3 for y. That's the point where it turns, turning point. Write down an estimate for one of the roots of the equation. The roots is where it crosses the x-axis. So if I zoom in to see, it crosses the x-axis at this point there. So this point, this is, if in the middle there is minus 0.5, here could be minus 0.7. And here could be 2.7 because it's an estimate. So you can choose one of them, minus 0.7 or 2.7. Question number 8. A solid cuboid is made of metal. The metal has a density of 9 grams per cubic centimeter. The volume of the cuboid is 72. Work out the mass of the cuboid. So mass is given by density times volume. Important to memorize this formula. Density is mass divided by volume. So the way I remember it is don't move there. Density is mass over volume. And then you want to find the mass, you cover the mass in the triangle. It's density times volume. 9 times 72, 648 grams. So that's a picture there of a cuboid, a metal cuboid. Question number 9. So some people were asked if they wanted a new television. So 70% of the people said yes. 80% of the people who said yes wanted television with large screen. So 70% of 100, you get the answer, and then you find 80% of that answer. So 0.8 times 0.7, and then that change that to percentage. Question number 10. Work out the length of DC. Give your answer correct to 1 decimal place. So I'll put DC in blue color. I'll put DC in a blue color so that you can see that's DC there. We want to find that length DC. Now, we don't know the height of that triangle, so we need to find that height. So to find AC, we use sine. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So sine 41 is opposite over hypotenuse, and that's the adjacent. So it's AC over 6.8. 6.8 goes to the left, so 6.8 times sine 41, so it's 4.46. Now, we know the angle is 55 on the other side, that's 4.46. We want to find DC. So we use opposite over adjacent, and that's tangent, SOHCAHTOA. So tan 55 is AC over DC. Now, since we want to find DC, we make DC the subject. Take DC to the left, and then take tan 55, swap them. So DC becomes AC over tan 55. You just swap these two. This one goes there, and this one comes there. So AC is 4.46 divided by tan 55, and your answer is 3.1 because they want the answer to 1 decimal place. So if you like the explanations and you're following up and you want extra lessons to help you get top grade in this maths, grade 8 and 9, you can WhatsApp me or call me on that number, and I would go through some lessons with you and show you how to answer the questions that matter a lot. So thank you very much. So SOHCAHTOA is put the formula there to help you to remember it. SOHCAHTOA. Use these triangles. Question 11. The table shows some information about the heights of some group of adults. On the grid, draw a box plot for the information in the table. So the least height is 169. We mark it there. And the greatest height is 186. And the median is 177. And then the lower quarter, upper quarter. So the important thing is you just have to, you may not be able to zoom in into the paper in an exam, but you just take your time and count these boxes. That's 165. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. So 166, 167, 168, 169, 170. That's 185, that will be 186. So make sure you do them on the correct places, because you will lose a mark if they're not in the correct places. So take your time and do that properly. And the box plot below shows the distribution of the heights of a group of teenagers. So we work out this value: 157.5, 178, 171. So it says compare the distribution of heights of adults with the distribution of heights of teenagers. So adults and teenagers. So we'll make it like a table. You will have the adults there and the teenagers on the other side, because we're going to compare some things. So what are we comparing? Let's compare the median. The adults' median is 177. The teenagers' median is 169. So the adult has bigger median. Let's compare the interquartile range. We have to work that out. Interquartile range is this number, 180 minus 174. So 180 minus 174, it gives you 6 for the adults. For the teenagers, it's 171 minus 165, it gives you 6. So the interquartile range is the same. The maximum value is 186 for the adult and 178 for the teenager. The range The biggest number for the adult is 186 minus the smaller number is 169 is 17. Biggest number for teenager is 178. Smallest number is 157.5, which is 20.5. So that's the numbers we have got. What do these numbers mean? That's where we want to interpret it. So we can say the adults have bigger median because it's 71.7. And the teenagers have bigger range, which is 20.5. That means the range from the shortest teenager to the tallest teenager, there's a bigger range than the adults. So these are some information that will help you to understand some of the topics. So I just put it there to help you. So the median tells us it's an average. The range is how spread the data is. Interquartile range tells us the spread of the middle 50%. So interquartile range tells us the spread of the middle 50%. So the adults have a bigger interquartile range, so their heights are more varied. If you get something like that. This one is a box and whisker plot, minimum, maximum, and then interquartile range. Question 12. Show that x minus 1, x plus 3, x minus 5 can be written in the form. So we want to change this to that. So we start by multiplying the first two. We use first, outer, inner, and last. X times x, x times 3, minus 1 times x, minus 1 times 3. When you expand it, you get that. And then now we take the answer and multiply it by the last one. So there will be a lot of multiplications here. There will be x squared times x, it gives you x cubed, and then x squared times minus 5x squared. You take the 2x, you multiply it, follow the green lines. And you take the minus 3, follow the blue lines, multiply it twice. And then you look for what is common. There's minus 5x squared plus 2x squared. Minus 5 plus 2 is minus 3. So go minus 3x squared. Minus 10 minus 3 is minus 13. So it'll be x cubed minus 3x squared minus 13x plus 15. That's your answer. Question 13. An expression for the n term of a sequence of a triangular numbers is n bracket n plus 1 over 2. Prove that the sum of any two consecutive triangular number is a square number. So if we have, for the n term, we're giving that as the n term. So if we have n as the n term, that's the expression given. If we put n minus 1, which is a smaller number, like let's say you have 9, the next number below is 8. So if n is 9, 8 will be n minus 1, which is 9 minus 1. So we put n minus 1. So wherever we see n, we put n minus 1. And simplify it. That gives us n minus 1 plus 2, n minus 1 times n over 2. Now it says the sum. Sum means we add the two numbers. It's like adding 9 plus 8. So we add the one which has n minus 1 and add the one that has n. So the n minus 1 is this one, and the n1 is that. So we want to add them together. So when we add them together, we want to add the n term plus the n minus 1. When we add them together, 2 is the common denominator. So we got n squared minus n, remove the bracket, n times n times minus 1. N times n times 1. So the n minus n and plus n will become 0. N squared plus n squared is 2n squared. And all of that divided by 2. The 2 will cancel, you end up with n squared. Question number 14. Calculate the area of OBC. OBC is, I think I'll shade a bit of it so that you can see what we want to find. OBC, sorry. Let's go that. That's OBC there. The area of that shape. So what you do is you want to find OB. Use cosine rule, OB. So cosine rule says OB squared would be given by 9 squared plus 6 squared minus 2 times 9 times 6 equals 35. Put all of that in your calculator and find the square root. You get 5.34. And that is what OB is. Now that you know what OB is, you can find the area of that. So the area of the yellow area is given by, the angle is 80% out of 360 because it's not a complete circle. So we will only have 80%, not 80%, 80 degrees out of 360. So it's 80 out of 360 times pi times the radius squared. So this is pi times radius squared. And that gives us 19.9. To 3 significant figure, it means you count 1, 2, 3, and you put a line. You look at the number on the right. The number on the right is 1, and 1 is smaller than 5. So you cancel that, and you end up with 19.9 centimeters squared. These are the two formulae I've used. Area of a sector is the angle divided by 360 times pi radius squared. And that our angle there was the 80 degrees. And then there's the cosine rule underneath. If you want to find A, it will be B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine of A. So learn these two formulae. They do come in exams a lot. So question 15A, factorize A squared minus B squared. It's A plus B and A minus B. We're going to use this rule, difference of two squares. We're going to use this rule to do part B. And I'll put some information there which you can read and practice them, difference of two squares to do part B. So we changed 40 is the same as 20 times 2. So 20 times 2 is 40. So it's 2 to the 20 times 2 minus 1 squared. 1 times 1 is 1. So we can write this one as 1 squared. So now this represents your A and that represents your B. So using that, A plus B, A minus B. Because this would be like A squared minus B squared. So 2 to the 40, 2 to the power 40. Some people call it 4e. 2 to the 4e. Question number 16. Enlarge triangles T by scale factor minus 2 and center minus 2, 2. Let's mark the center on the diagram. You mark the center minus 2, 2. That's the center there. You mark that center. Scale factor 2 means you multiply the size, everything by 2. So if it's 2 here, 2 times 2 is 4. So that's why this one is 4. It's double. The height is 3. That means 3 times 2 is 6. It's double. So we know the size for the new shape. Now, where do we draw the shape? That's the problem now. Where do we draw it on the graph? Let's start from the center. If you start from the center, you want to get to this tip part, you count 1, 2, 3, 4. You get to this top part. So from that center now, because you've doubled everything, you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's where that center will be for that one. This point here would be 1, 2, 3 to the left, and 1, 2, 3 down. What's 3 times 2? 6. So it will be 6 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 6 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, 6, 3, 3. Think of it that way. That's what the diagram will look like. Number 17, they want us to find the gradient at the point 2.5. So you go to 2.5, and that's where you draw that tangent line. Don't draw it anywhere else. It must be at that point 2.5, draw the line. You can choose a triangle which is big or a smaller triangle. The size of the triangle I've got, you want to find the height of the triangle. That's 48. And that's the rise over the run. That's the rise over the run. So 48 minus 0 is 48. And then 4 minus 1.4. 4 minus 1.4. So you simplify that, you get a gradient of 18.5 to 1 decimal place. What does the gradient of its distance time is the speed? Remember, speed is equals to distance divided by time. The way I remember it is sausages don't talk. So the gradient of a distance and time graph is speed. And you see that in physics. These are some pictures about distance and time to work out, and then how to find the speed and things like that. That will help you to understand this topic. Question number 18. You can press pause and have a go at it, and then you come back. So for question 18, there's two cones. There's a small one at the top, and then you can divide them into the smaller one at the top and into a bigger one. So we want to find the radius of a small cone. We use the idea of ratio. The radius of the small cone divided by radius of the large cone. It will be equal to the slant height of the small cone divided by the slant height of the large cone. So r over 3 is equal to 6 over 10. So you take 3 to the right, multiply by 3, you get 1.8. So the radius is 1.8. So we want to find that yellow area. Area of that circle is pi radius squared. Pi times 1.8 squared, it gives you 81 over 21 pi. Leave the answer in terms of pi for now. The green area, I want to find the green area. Pi radius squared. Radius is 3, so it will be 9 pi. So the curved surface area of the frustum, which we need to find, we want the curved surface area of the large cone, that means the whole big cone, minus the curved surface area of the smaller cone. It will give us the curved surface area of the frustum. So curved surface area is pi RL for the large cone minus pi RL. So pi times 3 times 10 minus pi times 1.8 times 6. And then it gives us 19.2 pi. So the total surface area is 19.2 pi plus the area for the yellow circle, the area for the yellow circle plus the area for the green circle. Now you can put them all together, you get 98.8. The three significant figures, you count 1, 2, 3, put a line, and that 7 is bigger than 5. You take it as 1 and add it to 7 becomes 8. So 98.8 to 3 significant figures. Question number 19. Sana needs to draw the graph of y equals to 3 to the power x. She draws the graph shown on the grid. Write down one thing Sana has done wrong. If you put 0 for x, if x is 0, 3 to the power 0 is 1. So her graph should be x is 0 and y is 1, and not 0, 0 there. So graph should start at 0, 1, not 0, 0. Number 20, prove algebraically that 0.123 can be written, the 2, 3 recurring as 61 over 495. The trick with these questions is Write down the recurring decimal, make it equals to x. Step number 1, make it equals to x. After that, you times it by 10 and write it out. Times the left side by 10, times the right side by 10. When you times the right side by 10, it becomes 1.232. Times it by 100, times it by 100. So it starts with 12 points. And then times it by 1,000, and then times it by 1,000. Now you want to see which two of them will subtract. The 1,000x minus 10x and the 123 point that, because this one matches. The match, so you subtract them. 3 minus 3 is 0, 2 minus 2 is 0, 0, 0, 0. And then 123 minus 1 is 122. 1,000 minus 10 is 990. So it's 990x is 122. So x is 122 over 990, which is 61 over 495. Question 1 is to solve that equation. We got the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. So let's do the left-hand side first. There's 2 fractions there. We want to add the 2 fractions to get us 1. So we use this common denominator. So the x plus 4 will disappear. With that, you'll be left with 2 minus 2x. The 2 minus 2x will disappear. With that, you're left with x plus 4 and then times the 3. So you remove the bracket there, 3 times x, 3 times 4. So we got 3x and 12. Minus 2x plus 3x is the same as 3x minus 2x, which will get you as x. 2 plus 12 is 14. Now there's 1 on the right-hand side. This is like 1 over 1. 1 over 1 is the same as 1. Now you cross multiply. So it becomes, you move it from a fraction to a linear, a straight line form. So now 1 times x plus 14 equals to x plus 4 bracket 2 minus 2x. We want to remove the bracket and solve that equation. So you expand x times 2, x times minus 2, 4 times 2, 4 times minus 2. You get that quadratic. And you put everything to the left. So minus 2x squared goes to the left. It becomes plus 2x squared. Minus 6x goes to the left, it becomes plus 6x. And there's that x on the left there. And then 14, 8 goes to the left, it becomes minus 8. So everything going to the left, so the right side is 0. You got this quadratic, which you put in your calculator. It gives x to the minus 3 over 2, or x is minus 2. So question 22, given that the vector a bracket 2, 6 plus b bracket 8, 2 is parallel to the vector 18, 6. Find an expression for b in terms of a. So what we want to do, we remove, so it becomes 2a plus 8b is equal to 13. And 6a plus 2b is equal to 6. We want to make expression for b in terms of a. So we want to make that 6 and 13 the same. So multiply the first one by 6, multiply by 6 there, multiply by 6, multiply by 6 on the other one. And then this one is times 13, times 13, times 13. Why do we do that? So we get 78 for both sides. So 78 minus 78 is 0. 48 minus 26 is 22. 12 minus 78 minus 66a. Minus 66a goes to the right, it becomes plus 66a. We divide by 22, it becomes b equals to 3a. So question 23, you got the equation of a circle. And then there's that line that passes at minus 3, 4. So we want to find the gradient of the line. We want to find the gradient for OP. OP is the green line there. So what you want to do is you want to use y2 minus y1. So the gradient is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we start from 0, 0, and we end at minus 3, 4. So it's 4 minus 0 over minus 3 minus 0. It gives you minus 4 over 3. So the green line and the pink line are at 90 degrees. The green line is a radius. The pink line is a tangent. And when radius and tangent mean the angle between them is 90 degrees. That means the gradient of the green line times the gradient of the pink line should be minus 1. If we know the gradient of the green line, minus 1 over that will give you the gradient of the pink line. So the gradient of the pink line, the tangent, is minus 1 over 4 over minus 3, which is 3 over 4. It's like minus 1 divided by 4 over minus 3. Now, a straight line has equation y equals to mx plus c. We found m is 3 over 4. So we know the gradient of the pink line is 3 over 4. We need to find c. For every line, you need to find m and find c. We got m, that's 3 over 4, we find c. But we know the line passes through minus 3, 4. So we put y is 4, put x is minus 3, put m is 3 over 4. Solve this to find c. So c would be given by 25 over 4. Now we can write the equation y equals to 3 over 4x plus 25 over 4. We can multiply everything by 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. So you end up 4y equals to 3x plus 25. If you put y is 0, 4 times 0 is 0. 3x plus 25 equals to 0. So x would be minus 25 over 3, which is minus 8 and 1/3. So Alex is not correct because it passes at minus 8 and 1/3, 0, and not minus 8, 0. Question number 24. That's the formula sheet that was given in the exam. So don't forget to WhatsApp or call and email if you need extra help.